Welcome to the Untrained Experts, a podcast for combat sports and fight news.
Welcome back to the Untrained Experts, episode 21.
What is going on, podcast world?
21 Deion Sanders in this bitch.
In this motherfucker. Let's go.
What's up, bro?
Me and Dakota are on one today, so
yeah.
We've been up all night working, and we don't give a fuck, quite frankly.
Yeah,
so.
We just worked 12-hour graveyard shift.
We don't give a fuck. I'm just kidding.
We're a little bit delirious, so this ought to be a fun.
We're gonna have fun.
Yeah,
we're gonna have fun for sure. Shit, man. How you feeling though?
Pretty good, man. A little tired.
Me too. I'm tired, but I'm not.
Yeah, yeah. You're at that point where it's kind of like
I'm at that point where it's like whatever.
Yeah.
If I sleep, I sleep.
If I sleep, I sleep.
If I don't, I guess whatever.
If he dies, he dies.
He dies. Shit, man. We had some good cards this past weekend.
Yeah, some good
card.
Stuff. It really was a pretty good stack card. Like
Dude,
going into it, I wasn't really sure. Like there were some good fights and stuff, but the whole card, even the people I didn't know, they showed out. Man, it was a really good card.
I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though we didn't get to sit down and watch it, I really and I enjoyed. Some parts I just had to listen a little bit, and I enjoyed that. Like just the commentary and just like the fights some of the fights were super intense. Especially the last 3 fights were badass.
Yeah,
like, they were
the whole main card was really pretty good.
Oh yeah, it was a super good fight.
Yeah,
fight card. Was it 241?
Yeah, UFC 241. Yeah,
241.
You want to get into it? We can kick it off.
Yeah, we can kick it off with the UFC.
Yeah. Sandhagen. One decision.
Sandhagen's on the come up.
Dude, he looked really good in that fight.
Yes.
Really good.
He fights so technical.
Yeah.
But he also, he puts a lot of pressure for the type of fighter he is.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. I don't know how to explain it, but, he's just looking really good right now.
He's really well-rounded, and he uses everything. Like, it's not just one style. He's constantly changing style, changing stance. You know, he's in and out.
He's undefeated too, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think he's lost a fight yet.
Yeah, he's like 6-0, 5-0, 7-0.
He's looking really good.
Something like that. Yeah. It's impressive to beat Assunção the way he did. You know, it was a unanimous decision.
Yeah, and Assunção's no punk, bro.
Yeah, it really wasn't like a close fight though. I mean, it was he pretty much handled it.
That's what I'm saying. Sandhagen at this point, I mean, he deserves a big fight. Really, I think.
I want to say they had him ranked at like 10 before, so I imagine he'll jump up to probably like around 7.
Top 7. I was going to say top
like
7. I mean,
so it'll be nice to start seeing him fight some of these like top guys, and we can really see what he see what he's about.
He's been running through everybody else.
He's the biggest 135er on the planet.
Yeah,
he's so big.
I don't understand how he fights at 135, but he looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks good at 135.
Yeah, he doesn't look dead.
Not at all. It looks like a healthy weight for him.
But he's huge. He's just so big.
It's so weird when you see fighters like that.
Yeah.
Like Conor didn't, when he fought at 145, he kind of looked small.
Yeah.
To me. He looked like a little dude.
Yeah, especially once you saw him later at 155 and 170.
Yeah, Conor at 170 looked like a happy man. You know what I mean? So some of these fighters are different.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to see guys like Sandhagen who look big at a lighter weight. I don't get it, but he looks good though.
Yeah.
I think he could fight at 45 pretty easily.
He definitely could. He probably walks around at 155, 160.
There's some tough guys at 45, so maybe, he's so early in his career. 135 is probably good for him.
Yeah, I want to see him run 135 for a while. I think he has a good shot at a title, But, it would be cool to see him fight like Zabit.
Yeah.
That's a fight I'd like to see.
Sandhagen Zabit would,
because they're two hype trains.
Zabit fights pretty soon though.
Yeah, he does.
So we'll see. I mean,
he's fighting at 145.
He's undefeated too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be, if he wins his next fight, I think him and Sandhagen's a good matchup. Really,
it would be. It just depends on who.
See who's
he would have to come up a weight class, or Zabit would have to go down. So
but still, the way they fight, their style is similar.
Yeah.
I think Sandhagen.
That's why I think it'd be fun to see.
Yeah.
It'd be a fun fight to watch.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm ready to see what's next for Sandhagen, man. I think he has a really good shot at becoming champ. Fight. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he deserves a good fight.
Yeah.
Next.
I don't really know. I mean,
Who could he fight?
Yeah, that's what
Aljamain, maybe? I don't know. That's pushing it a little bit. I mean, Aljamain's up there. But.
Yeah, I don't want to see Aljamain lose. I'd rather him get a title shot before he loses, I'd rather see him get that because I think he deserves it right now. You know, Frank Edgar's supposed to be going to 135, so that could be a.
I don't know. That's definitely a way to prove yourself.
Yeah,
Sandhagen and Frankie Edgar, and that'd be a good fight.
Yeah,
I think Sandhagen has the skills to beat anybody.
Yeah,
I really do.
Sure.
I mean, he has the style to beat anybody.
I definitely see him being champ one day.
Yeah,
probably sooner
than later.
Bro.
He's young in his career.
Yeah,
he's just getting started.
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting better every time we see him. You know, he's not really a finisher. I mean, I'm sure he could, like, if he wanted to.
But I think it's smart at this point in his career.
Yeah. To
go to decisions.
Yeah, he really does.
He doesn't need.
He needs that experience.
Well, yeah. Not only that, he's not taking a lot of damage, bro.
Yeah.
He barely got touched in that fight. Like, I mean, you know, he's not taking a lot of headshots. He's not taking a lot of damage in these decision wins. He's fighting very technical. You know, he's sitting back a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't know, he's doing it really smart. Yeah. I'm excited to see where he goes.
Yeah, for sure. Then on the main card, actually it was the last fight on the prelims. Khama Worthy and Devonte Smith.
I didn't get to catch that.
Dude, that was a crazy fight. It really was. I think the two guys used to be.
Yeah, I saw.
They used to train together.
Yeah, they used to train at the same spot.
Yeah, they used to be training partners, and I think Devonte Smith used to hold pads for Khama Worthy to get him ready for other fights and stuff. Like, they were like good friends and shit. And
that was Devonte Smith's first loss too.
Yeah, he was undefeated.
Damn.
Yeah, and it was a first round TKO.
That's just not a good way to go.
Yeah,
especially with somebody you know.
I know.
That just sucks.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Like your boy knocking you out. I feel like me knocking you out on the podcast right now. What's up, bitch? We train together.
Yeah.
That's messed up. Well, you know, the thing is, he might have known everything that Devonte was going to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially when you train with guys, it's like a lot of times you know exactly how they're going to fight, exactly how they move around, and if Devonte Smith doesn't change the way he fights, you know, I mean, Worthy might have knew exactly how he was going to move and knew exactly what he needed to do to knock him out.
Apparently, it's been a while since they've trained together, I guess, but like they used to be training partners or something. That's what they were saying during the little lead up thing they do, talking about the fight. You know, they were saying that they've both come a long way since then, since they trained together and stuff. So they both had some new stuff up there, you know, to show or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Khama Worthy got the best of that.
How did he knock him out?
He dropped him with a left hook and then finished it on the ground. It was wild though.
Crazy knockout, bro.
Yeah.
That uppercut was mean.
For it to be, you know, Devonte Smith's first loss, you know. Sucks for him, but, you know, he'll bounce back. He's a good fighter. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's got plenty of time.
Yeah, he's talented though.
Ahead of him.
For sure.
So,
kick off the main card. Derek Brunson and Ian Heinisch.
Dude, a lot of people had Ian winning. I personally thought Derek Brunson was going to go in and handle business.
Yeah. Like
he normally does. He's a really good wrestler. I don't know. He caught Brunson with a head kick. I can't remember what round it was.
The opening round. It was
and it was a really good head kick.
Early
I thought Brunson, for a second, I thought Brunson was about to get, I thought it was about to be a knockout.
I thought the same thing.
It was a really good head kick.
He got wobbled.
Brunson ate that, though.
Yeah.
He did eat it.
He almost dropped to a knee, then just kind of bounced back up and kept going.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah. It was really awkward the way that happened, but it was really, really close. But then after that, like the last few rounds, I mean, Brunson just dominated him completely. I mean,
early in that, like the first round, Ian Heinisch was doing good. Like he was putting shit together, but then Derek Brunson figured out everything he was going to do and just took control.
He figured out what he was doing, and then his wrestling really just offset Heinisch a lot. You know what I mean? Like every time Heinisch thought he might have got the upper hand, Brunson would hit him with a double leg or throw him, get him down, and then they get back to their feet. And Brunson just kept controlling the fight after that. That head kick was scary, but after that, Brunson, I think he got his footing and he was able to take control.
Luke Thomas talks really high of Ian Heinisch about his story. Like he's been in prison and stuff, but I don't know his whole story.
I want to say Schaub said something about Luke Thomas said you needed to pick Heinisch in the fight, and Shaw bet on him. And Shaw was like, I was going to pick Brunson, you motherfucker.
Well, see, Luke Thomas said that Ian Heinisch came on his show, and like when he came on, Ian was like, he's like, man, I had a dream that I was coming on your show, and then the next day you called me to come on your show. And he's like, in the dream, we were talking about vacation, and you said you vacationed in Belize, and he's like, have you ever vacationed in Belize? And Luke Thomas is like, yeah, one time, like a really long time ago. So it seemed like a kind of like it was like a premonition almost. Like he thought he was going to come on the show, then he gets called to come on the show, and then so Luke Thomas was like
a deja vu type of deal.
And Ian was like he feels like he's going to run through Derek Brunson. So I think that's why Luke was kind of saying that it might be a good idea to put some money on him.
Luke just had confidence in him because
kind of, yeah.
I mean, he had confidence in himself too.
He said he likes the guy, and he he likes his story and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, Derek Brunson's not unbeatable. It's not like he was facing an opponent that he couldn't beat. But Brunson just got the best of him with that wrestling, really.
Yeah, he's just a veteran. I mean, you know.
Brunson's one of those guys. I mean, you got to know what you're doing if you want to beat him. I mean, he can beat just about anybody with his wrestling.
Yeah.
It was a good fight, though.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
After that, Sadiq Yusuff and Gabriel Benitez. First round TKO.
Yeah, that was
for
quick.
Yusuff. Yeah.
The fight didn't. I don't remember that fight lasting very long.
No, I didn't. It was early in the fight.
I don't know much about either of those guys.
I don't really either.
I think we talked about it before. We were wondering why those guys were ahead of Brunson and Heinisch on the card.
We did say that.
I always thought that Brunson and Heinisch were. I mean, I knew who both of them were.
Yeah.
Going into this card.
I've heard of Sadiq Yusuff before, and I think I've seen one or two of his fights before on like prelims or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's really good. I think he's from. What is he? He's from like Nigeria or something.
He is one of those Nigerian fighters,
Africa,
I think.
or somewhere. He's definitely from a foreign. His family. I think his family is like still there. They can't get approved to come here or something like that. They were talking about it after the fight, and it was just impressive. It was a very impressive win.
Yeah, he is. He is Nigerian.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a really good win for him.
His name does sound familiar.
Yeah. I don't know. He hasn't fought like any really big names yet, but I mean, he's really talented.
Gabriel Benitez, I'm going to be honest, I never did hear about that guy, though.
Yeah, me either.
Sadiq sounds familiar, though. I've heard that name.
I think we've talked about him once before. Like, we mentioned him because he was on a prelim or something.
Yeah, he's just not super well known.
Yeah. He will be soon, though. After seeing him.
He looked tough in that fight. Yeah. It was over quick.
Yeah, for real.
I love first round knockouts, bro. This is the best. I mean, you got to be honest. Anybody who watches a card, I mean, that's you want to see a first round knockout.
Yeah.
A lot of times, it's cool to see a fight go to a decision. If you're a hardcore fan, you don't mind watching a fight go to a decision or a fight being on the ground the whole game. But when you see that first round knockout,
knockouts are always great.
There's nothing better.
I don't mind decisions because I really like to see. I like to watch the whole fight, especially if it's a real close fight. But, knockouts are always obviously favored, Yeah.
You just always want to see a knockout. It's always nice.
Yeah.
After that, we had the Battle of the Bods,
The
Battle of the fucking Picos. These dudes are both roided out, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. Paulo Costa is on fucking roids. There's no way that man is that shredded. I don't care what anybody says. And there's no way. Yoel Romero is 42 years old and that fucking shredded. There's no way.
Yeah, right.
They both, man, just amazing. I mean, they both look good in this fight.
Yeah, really, it was a really good fight.
To me, I really watched this one close, and I thought it should have been a split decision.
Yeah,
I don't think it should have been unanimous for Paulo like it was. I mean, I definitely had Paulo winning rounds 1 and 2, but I think or rounds 2 and 3 maybe.
1 or 2. Yeah,
1 and 2.
It's 1 and 2.
Well,
he won. He clearly won the first round. And Yoel clearly won the second or the third round.
Yeah.
But the second round is kind of where
It was back.
It was like a flip in the middle of the round where Yoel started taking over the second half of the round. So it could have gone either way. Really,
they were trading shots like crazy,
dude.
I mean, dude, they were trading shots like back and forth. Like,
Paulo looked really good in the first round. In the first round, he looked really, really good. He started gassing out. By the third round, he was gassed. I mean, he was so tired. Like he was trading with Yoel, and then he leaned back against the fence and took a big deep breath for a minute, put his hands on his hips, and then he's telling Yoel to come here, like let's fight right here. Like while he's got his hands on his hips standing against the fence, and Yoel's like, "No, come here," and he's all right, and so he walks over there tired as shit. You know, you can tell he didn't want to walk across the cage.
I don't even feel like it, but a lot of people were talking shit about their cardio, and I was like, these men do you not see what they're doing?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just any normal fight. Like, these dudes are going to war. I mean, of course they're tired,
the output was nonstop.
Yeah, the output never stopped.
Yeah.
And it was insane. Like, they were trading shots, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, they were just beating the shit out of each other.
I mean, like I said earlier, at first, Joel, I mean, to me, he looked a little wobbly. He just didn't look like himself at first. But then when he got warmed up and back in there, they were trading some crazy shots. And like I said, I think Yoel... You know, I don't understand how it was a unanimous. I really don't, because I think Yoel at least got around. Because to me, I mean, it could have went both ways.
Yeah.
It could have been a draw.
Yeah.
It was that close of a fight, really. It could have went either way.
Yeah, it's just unanimous because all three judges picked Costa. I'm surprised one judge didn't pick Yoel, though. I mean... Well,
and one reason, I don't mean to sound biased, but, Paulo is undefeated. Yeah. And they might want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
A lot of people might want to keep it that way because he's still got a lot of fights ahead of him, and Yoel's 42. He doesn't have a huge career ahead of him.
68.
Yeah. Is he 68?
I don't know, man.
83. He could be.
It's so hard to tell.
It was so crazy during that card. Like, every time Yoel would get punched, though, he kept sticking his tongue out and doing something. That man is just sick in the head.
Yeah, he's really wild. He's really wild. He's fun to watch, though.
They got fight of the night, didn't they?
I think so.
Yeah. And, I mean, Yoel is just crazy. Costa looked banged up at the end of that fight, though.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, when it was a unanimous for him, I was like, Yoel doesn't look as bad as Paulo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Paulo looked like he got busted up pretty good.
Yeah.
But,
he was definitely tired by the end of the fight, too. Like, you could tell it was a war.
Well, Yoel landed twice the headshots during that. But the thing is, Paulo landed way more body shots.
Yeah.
And a couple more, more significant shots. But, Yoel was landing plenty of shots. It wasn't like he wasn't landing any significant shots. To me, that should have been a way closer fight than the judges scored. But either way, I was happy with the decision. Either way, either way it went. I like both fighters. I think they're both savages.
I think the judges scored 29-28. Two judges scored at 29-28, and one judge scored at 30-27, if I remember right. So one judge gave all 3 rounds to Costa, and the other 2 gave a round to Yoel, but 2 rounds to Costa. That's how it ended up being unanimous. Yeah, because that one, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was what the scores were. Because I was kind of surprised that one judge didn't even give Yoel a round when he clearly won the 3rd round to me. Like, because by that time, Costa was just more tired than Yoel.
Yeah. And
Yoel was able to kind of take over a little bit.
Yeah, Yoel didn't really gas.
Yeah.
As much as Paulo did.
Yeah. But Paulo's, I don't know if any of his fights have made it past, the first round or something. Like, his fights are always over pretty quick. Like, he knocks pretty much everybody out.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't go 3-5 rounds, really. He's not used to that. Yoel's used to going 5-round wars with fucking Robert Whittaker, so, it's one of those things.
Yeah, for sure.
After that, we had Nate. Nate Diaz is back.
Yeah. He looked good, man. I'd love
to see him back, bro.
He looked really good.
Even though I'm 50-50 with Nate, part of me completely hates him, the other part of me loves him. It's so weird. The relationship my mind has with Nate Diaz is when I hear him talk, he gets on my nerves so bad, and the shit talk is so annoying. But at the same time, I love watching him fight. And I know he's a respectable dude, especially when it comes to fighting. And he looked really good, man.
Yeah, for sure.
3 years off, he looked so good. I mean, what's his name? Does commentating.
Cruz?
Yeah, Dominic.
Yeah.
Dominic Cruz said, there's no such thing as ring rust.
Yeah.
Which, in a way, I somewhat agree with that, somewhat don't. It just depends who the fighter is. It depends how they're, it depends how much, if they've had an injury, it depends. There's a lot of different factors.
In Nate's case, he was training hard the whole time he was off.
Training the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been living his best life for the past 3 years and training his ass off because that's just how he is. He trains year round. He's Goku, bro. I mean,
they run marathon, like triathlons and shit. Like him and his brother do like legit triathlons.
Yeah, it's not like he's like some lazy stoner who just sits around eating and like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people think of Nate like that. Like a lot of people thought Nate was going to be like really rusty, and in my head I was just like, no, he's going to come out and give him a tough fight. Like, part of me was like, Pettis could definitely win just because it has been a while since Nate had a fight, but I knew it was going to be tough. Yeah, no matter what. I knew Nate was going to be the same.
I like Nate, and I respect his skill set a lot. I was pulling for Pettis just because, Pettis has been one of my favorite fighters for a really long time. And I really wanted to see him get a win. Like, I wanted to see him try to make a title run,
Yeah, I love Pettis.
Yeah, but, I mean, Nate was... He just showed up.
Bro. I mean, he dragged him on the ground when he wanted to. And Pettis did a really good job defending the takedowns. He did pretty well with that. And every time Nate got him down... And you thought maybe Nate was going to get a submission out of it. Pettis got out of that.
But he was always able to kind of squirm his way out. Yeah.
He's good at that, though. He's always been good at that. Tony had trouble with him on the ground. Mm-hmm. Anthony's just really good at getting out of that clinch and not getting submitted. So I thought that was a really good fight, though. But we got you think Nate and Jorge will fight?
Man, I'd like to. I really hope so.
I mean, they're really talking about it.
Yeah.
And, Masvidal keeps doing different interviews. I swear he does an interview every day. Like, every time there's a card or anything going on, he's doing an interview. But, it's good that he's staying in the news, honestly. Like, I think it's good for him to keep getting publicity and keep putting himself out there like that. But,
I was trying to look.
A fight between them two would be insane.
Yeah. I was trying to look and see what, Pettis broke his foot.
Yeah.
In the fight, and I was trying to see what point in the fight that it happened, and if that kind of led to some of what some of Nate being able to take over the way he was,
take him down easier
because
everything.
If Anthony's only got really one foot,
if you haven't seen it, just go look at Pettis' Instagram. Because his foot was bad.
Yeah, he kicked Nate like in the head and broke his foot, but.
That was painful too.
Yeah, I like.
A lot of times they don't notice those things in the fight though because of the adrenaline rush and everything that's going on. Like he probably didn't even realize his foot was messed up until after the fight was over.
I feel like I remember Rogan saying something during the commentating that said he was stepping weird and it looked like he might have.
It definitely slowed. Like even though it might not have hurt terribly, that stuff still slows you down. Like if he broke his foot in the middle of the fight, like it's slowing you down no matter what. Sure. You're not going to be the same.
Yeah, but
I can definitely see that affecting him, though. Like, if it happened earlier on in the fight, especially.
Yeah, for sure. The Nate Diaz and Jorge thing. I like how Nate did it. I like how he got on the mic and chose to call Jorge out of all people.
Battle of the Badasses.
Yeah, and he's, the way he did it respectfully. He was like...
Baddest motherfucker. What did he say?
He said, he said, well...
I want to have the baddest motherfucker belt or whatever it was.
It was something like that. He's like, I just got this belt. It's time to defend it or something like that. But he said something about, Jorge looked pretty good in his last fight. He's like... He's a gangster. He ain't no West Coast gangster or something like that.
He ain't no West Coast gangster.
Yeah, and I mean it was cool the way he did it. He wasn't like talking shit or anything. He was kind of doing it like playfully,
Yeah, and that's also like that shows you how respectable Nate is though, because he could fight just about anybody. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, he could have called out. He could have jumped on there and called out Conor and said, "Conor, where you at?"
Said, "Conor, we're fighting next."
Yeah.
But no, instead he's calling out Masvidal because he knows Masvidal is one of the best at 170 right now. Masvidal is in the run for being champ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At 170.
And they're both growing. Their star power is just growing. Like between the two of them, with Masvidal, beating Askren the way he did, and he's in his 2-piece or 3-piece Minnesota.
Well, yeah, you see Masvidal on the rise right now, and knocked him out so easy, and he knocked out Darren Till, and he's just a savage. I mean, anybody who knows Masvidal's past knows that he's a savage. He's been in his backyard fights forever. He's been doing crazy shit forever. And Nate Diaz, like you said, they're both badass motherfuckers. Like they're both like, you know what I mean? Like they're both. I mean, from the hood. Like, really, you know what I mean? Like, they've all been fighting their whole life.
From the streets.
They're from the streets. They've been fighting their whole life. Like, they've been in wars that had nothing to do with money and had nothing to do with the UFC. So, you know, to see that, and you know Nate Diaz's skill set. Like, you know how good he is with everything. And Masvidal's also got good ground game. He's got all, you know, good takedown defense. Like, it's a perfect matchup.
Yeah.
And I just think it would be amazing to see, because Nate Diaz doesn't lose very often. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if Masvidal can beat Nate Diaz, to me, Masvidal is like, he deserves a title shot immediately if he beats somebody like Nate Diaz. Like, that's his calling right now if he wants that title shot, I think.
If UFC doesn't make the fight, then they're not doing it. I mean, they're not doing something right. There's no other fight they should make for either of those fighters. That's the fight to make. You know,
I hate to put Leon Edwards on the back burner, but he also has plenty of time.
Yeah.
Leon Edwards has plenty of time.
Well, the Leon Edwards and Masvidal fight, it doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, yeah, they have their little issue or whatever, but I mean,
at this point though, it's with Nate doing that, the UFC is never going to consider Leon and Masvidal over Nate and Masvidal now.
Yeah, they really should.
I mean, Nate's pulling. I mean, not Conor numbers, but as close as you can get to Conor numbers. That was a really good pay-per-view, and for one reason, it was Nate Diaz was on that pay-per-view card. Yeah. That was one reason.
They broke the record for the gate in California.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, and that's because of Nate Diaz.
And
that's not because
mostly.
Of you know, DC a little bit. DC and Stipe had a little draw, but I mean that, you know, people came to see Nate Diaz.
Yeah,
whenever he came out, people were.
Pettis got booed every time he said something or did something, he got booed.
And
which is kind of shitty, but I mean,
kind of shitty because Pettis is the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, I get it because Nate's like your hometown boy. You know?
He's Cali. I mean, they represent. It's understandable, but.
But the thing with the Leon Edwards that doesn't really make sense for the fight with Masvidal is because, I mean, it's not a big draw. You know, Leon Edwards is a guy who doesn't do interviews. He doesn't do media.
Well, that's the thing. He's
quiet.
He's like what
He's quiet until he talks shit with somebody, you know.
Yeah.
And it's kind of rough. Like, his shit talk is not really that great anyway.
It's not great. He's kind of like what's his name? How am I forgetting his name? Trump guy.
Oh, Covington?
Yeah, Colby. I always forget fighters' names, and then like it's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, Colby. I mean, that's kind of how Colby was. Yeah. Colby used to be like that fighter that, like, he's not knocking everybody out. He's not all in and out of nowhere. He switched. Yeah. He was like, after he got that win against, was it RDA or, I know he beat RDA, but I can't remember. It was either against RDA.
I think he was already doing the thing before.
It was the fight he won before RDA, I believe, is when he really got into the shit talking.
Was it Damian Maya?
Damian, yeah, when he beat Damian. Yeah, when he beat Damian, he was really got into that shit talking stage. Yeah. And I'm not saying every fighter has to do that, but like if you want that type of draw, if you want that type of power over the UFC to where you can have the fights you want, like right now, Colby's to the point where he's getting the fights he wants finally because he's talked so much shit. He's been in the media and like anybody who probably knows him personally knows that's not who he really is. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like for the most part, Colby's a good dude from what I've heard. And, you know, it's all put on for, you know, what he does for the UFC. So, I don't know. You know, Leon Edwards definitely deserves nothing but the best. You know, he deserves great fights, but, you know,
there's other big fights.
Exactly. He's not a huge draw, and there's other big fights for him at 170.
Yeah, there's other big 170 fights he can.
Yeah, there's plenty of people there.
Yeah, for sure. So, main event, Stipe DC.
Heartbreaker.
Yeah. So rounds 1 through 3, I had DC winning, and you could possibly even, I think it was the first round, could even be a 10-8 in my opinion. The way he dominated Stipe on the ground.
DC absolutely dominated rounds 1 through 3 easily.
1 through 3, it really wasn't even close. I mean, Stipe was getting beat down.
Stipe landed a couple of big shots in round 2. That was really it. But round 1, DC came out on fire. You know, with
round 1's when he picked him up and slammed him, right?
Yes,
and then dominated him on the ground for a while.
Yeah, he dominated him on the ground, slammed him. The leg kick, his leg kicks were crazy. Like he was kicking the shit out of him too. Like DC was giving him everything in that first round. And then second and third, like second round, Stipe looked a little bit better. And, you know, it kind of seemed like it took him a while to get his footing. He is a 5-round fighter. He's used to that. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's a reason he was the heavyweight champion and he defended it so many times. I mean, he's used to 5-round fights. And it did kind of seem like he picked it up a little bit more in the second, third round. Yeah. And started
He definitely landed some shots throughout, but I think DC was just landing way more, and he was doing way more. Like, he was pressuring, he was controlling the where the fight was taking place. Every time, you know, Stipe would throw something, DC was throwing combos. Yeah. You know, he was constantly just beating on him, really.
I respect the shit out of Stipe, though. I do, because he's a fireman, bro. Like, he's a real life badass too. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, regardless of him fighting in the UFC, like, he's a real life hero like that. Yeah, sure. And he's super respectable with what he's done
I love
in the UFC. I love Stipe. And
I'm not trying to badmouth Stipe. I'm just saying
I love them both the same, but like, it just sucks because it seemed like after that third round, that fourth round coming in, and was it after the first or second when DC asked his coach if he was winning?
I think it was after the second.
I think it was after the second round, possibly. But it's like, a lot of times those fighters get in there and they don't know. Yeah. They don't know how it's, you know, it's hard for them to judge. Like, how many times did I get hit that round? You know, it's hard for them to judge if they're winning or not. It's probably, you know, that's completely normal for DC to ask that. But it just seemed, bro, like DC did not respect.
Exactly.
He did not respect Stipe's hands.
Yeah.
And Stipe all DC has ever talked about is outgrinding people. Mm-hmm. And Stipe outgrinded him, and DC, I mean, I hate to say it because I love DC, and I wanted DC to win this fight, and I had him winning. Like, I thought DC was going to dominate and get it done, you know, by round 3. But he didn't respect Stipe's hands at all. And he got too close, and he kept his guard down too much.
His hands were down almost the whole fight. Yeah. I think a lot of it had to do with him being able to knock out Stipe the first time. He knew that he has the power
to dominate that same way again, bro.
Yeah. He knew he had the power to do it, and so he had completely abandoned the game plan of wrestling. And his coaches were telling him, you know, you need to wrestle. You need to do what we talked about. And, you know, if he had stuck with his plan and stuck with the wrestling, you know, he very well could have beat Stipe. The plan, I think, was to take Stipe down a lot in the early rounds and wear him out. And then, you know, go for a finish later on.
I think DC really, he wanted the same result as fight number 1.
Yeah.
He really did. And, man, honestly, like, that's why, like, even though DC's 40 and he's talking about retiring soon, and, you know, Max Holloway put out a really nice post about him. I don't know if anybody saw that, but it was a super nice, long Instagram post he put out about him. And even Khabib said before the fight, Khabib was like, I want him to retire, regardless of if he wins this or not. You know, a lot of people who are close to him want him to retire, but I want him to fight again. You know, a trilogy fight for him and Stipe would be great in the future, really. Yeah. You know, and
that's really all there is.
If he sticks to his game plan, I don't think Stipe can beat him on the ground. DC is too good of a wrestler. Like, if he sticks to his wrestling, I think he beats Stipe 9 times out of 10. Yeah, I think DC would get it done in the trilogy fight. I really do. But I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever see it.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, you know, if John's going to come to heavyweight, that's a good fight for him. Stipe, I mean,
I don't think.
I mean, honestly, after seeing that fight, bro, I think if John wanted to, he could come to heavyweight right now and beat DC or Stipe. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds a little out there, but John at heavyweight, I know we've never really seen him at heavyweight either, but I think John, literally, I think if he came up to heavyweight right now, he would beat DC or Stipe.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the DC John thing is going to happen anymore. I think that's kind of out the window now.
Yeah, especially if him losing.
Yeah, I think the only fight really left for DC, if he still wants to fight, you know, if he decides not to retire, you know, a rubber match with Stipe is kind of the fight to go, or the fight to go with. But, you know, I wanted to give Stipe props on that 4th round to come out and to make adjustments that needed to be made to, you know, beat DC. You know, it was a game plan at that point that they kind of put into effect because, you know, all the way back to UFC 200, when DC fought Anderson Silva, Anderson Silva kicked DC with a push kick in the liver, and it gave DC a lot of problems. And so for Stipe to know that coming into this and to start going to the body and going with that liver shot, that's really what said it. There was the beginning of the end
that
for
liver shot
DC.
Can shut you down, too, man. I mean, like anybody who's ever been in an MMA fight or experienced a liver shot will tell you, like, that is. I mean, it's like it feels like it shuts your whole body down sometimes. Like, and for him to eat those shots and even keep going is impressive. Period. I mean, so I don't know.
I mean, it just for Stipe to know that he's behind and know he's down and know he's getting beat, to have the wherewithal to make the decision to go to that liver shot that he knows has given DC problems in the past, and he threw like 10 or 12 of them in that fourth round.
Really, Stipe did everything right. He grinded. He stuck in there when it was hard, even after getting slammed. I mean, Stipe was really impressive, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they came into Till I Die by MGK.
Yeah.
I like how that's his coming in song.
Yeah.
I like that song.
Yeah,
it's pretty dope.
Cleveland.
From the land.
Yeah.
I like that. That's pretty dope. Stipe he was really impressive. I mean, he deserved the win. I'd love to see the trilogy, and we might get lucky enough to see that one day. But after the fight, DC said on Instagram, "It's been a couple of days, and I can't stress the disappointment. I'm so sorry to all that I have let down. To my wife and kids, I'm so sorry you guys had to experience that. I never wanted y'all to see that. And the hurt you guys showed breaks my heart every time I think about it. My coaches, I'm sorry. I appreciate the work and time you spend with me, my fans. Thank you guys for all the love and support you have guided me to all these amazing accomplishments. Stipe Miocic and his team, congratulations on a tremendous victory. You showed so much heart and grit. You are the definition of Cleveland tough. Dana White and all the UFC, thank you for everything you have done for me and my family. This has been the most amazing journey. I will decide what I'm going to do now. And as soon as I decide, you will all know right away. I love you all, DC." God, man, you just gotta love him.
Yeah,
you gotta love him. I mean, DC is just.
He made a statement.
He just win or lose, he's so respected. In this game, I mean, he always will be.
Yeah, he made a statement about talking about his son, and they asked him, if he was going to retire or whatever, and he said that he had talked to his son, and his son was asking, like, he asked his son if he would be upset with him if he retired, and his son said no. So it like kind of cemented to him like, he doesn't need to do this. His kids are not going to see him as a failure.
Yeah, and his son was like, "I want you to retire. More time you can spend with me.
Yeah, spend more time with us." Yeah.
Like.
So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if DC decides to retire, and if it's weighing on him that much, I think it's a good idea. Just because I don't want to see him come back and lose again or get knocked out again, especially.
Exactly. Yeah, same. I don't want to see DC lose ever again. I want to see him come back and leave on a win like he always wanted. But
the thing is, if he comes back and he beats Stipe in the third fight, he's not just going to bounce as a champ. He's going to defend more than likely.
He's going to want to fight John Jones or
so
whoever else is coming.
Then what happens if he loses that? Is he going to try to avenge that loss too? It's just a never-ending cycle.
It's a never-ending cycle if you keep trying to just go out on a win or go out,
he said he didn't want to go out on his back, but I mean,
at the end of the day, he dominated that fight.
Yeah.
Until that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like he got his ass whooped. It's not like he got knocked out first round like Stipe did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He knocked out Stipe in the first round. Very impressive. The first fight. You can, you can't take that away from him. He beat Stipe.
Yeah.
Regardless, Stipe came back and got his belt. But who cares? He's still already beat him.
You see people saying eye poke in the first fight. There was eye poke. I mean, it happens. It happens in fights all the freaking time. I mean, it's a matter of the way these fighters fight when they're grabbing hands and trying to stop your punches and stuff. Eye pokes happen, but the first fight, the way DC knocked out Stipe, he had talked about that leading up to the fight. Stipe does this, I'm gonna do this is exactly what I'm gonna do when he leaves that opening. He talked about it. He talked about it before the fight. In the clinch, he knew exactly what he was going to do, and then he did that. So it's not like it was a lucky punch. It's not like the eye poke did something to Stipe to where he didn't see it coming or whatever. I keep seeing comments and shit about that.
That's so stupid.
That's not how the shit works, man.
These are Stipe sleeping.
These are the top of the food chain
fighters. It had nothing to do with that eye poke. He caught Stipe sleeping and slept him. You know what I mean? Like, it had nothing to do with the knob.
He timed it. He found the opening timing, and went for it, you know?
Yeah, it was a great shot. It had nothing to do with the knob poke.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll let's see where it goes, man. Either way, I'll be happy with DC, but like we said, I don't want to see him stick around too long, you know?
Yeah.
And end up in trouble, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Getting knocked out or anything like that, but either way, much respect to DC and whatever he decides, I'm all for it, man.
So with this, you think that Stipe the best heavyweight ever?
Well, did you see Scott Coker's tweet?
No, I didn't.
Scott Coker tweeted and said Ryan Bader's the best heavyweight fighter on the planet. I'm sorry, bro, but it's a little bit laughable.
I don't think you can say that. I mean, Ryan Bader, he's really
great.
Good.
He's great, but he is the king of Bellator, bro.
Yeah.
He lost to John Jones.
Yeah. And
you can't say he's the best.
He's always been light heavyweight. I mean, he's just recently went to heavyweight.
Yeah, so you can't
he hasn't been a heavyweight.
Yeah,
he hasn't been a heavyweight.
If he can beat a Stipe Miocic or like a really dominant heavyweight, like.
I mean, he went into the heavyweight Grand Prix in Bellator as a light heavyweight. He was the smallest guy in the heavyweight tournament.
First of all, he's a light heavyweight fighter for the most part.
Yeah.
And second of all, he lost to John Jones.
Yeah.
So he's not the best heavyweight.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, Scott.
I think there's a
good argument for Stipe or DC.
Yeah.
Or I mean, honestly, bro, Kane in his prime was to me it doesn't get much better than Kane.
Yeah. The thing about Kane is his run wasn't long enough.
It wasn't long,
to really
and
be considered.
He stuck around too long.
Yeah.
And he took too much damage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He did too much.
Kane's definitely like up there.
Stipe has looked good this whole time.
Yeah.
And he has it's just there's too much to argue Stipe being the best. You know, if DC came back and beat Stipe again, then we could say DC is officially the best. You know, he's beat him twice and cemented why he's the best heavyweight. But I think right now, man, you got to say Stipe.
Yeah, I think there was a very good argument for DC coming into this fight because he was undefeated at heavyweight. He beat Stipe in the first round in the first fight. But, you know, Stipe's still the most decorated. You know, he's defended 3 times, which is the most ever.
Well, and I mean, when it comes to the Bader thing, it's like, I mean, everybody that Bader's beaten, Stipe's beaten somebody better.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Stipe KO JDS.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he beat Ngannou. He had no problem. I mean, who beats Ngannou?
He walked through Ngannou.
He walked through Ngannou like it was nothing. Nobody does that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's beaten far better guys. I mean, so, I mean, there's just no argument to me. Stipe has to be the best right now. I mean, unless somebody beats him, he's the best. You know, if Ngannou gets and that's another good fight. I mean, I think Ngannou, you know, Stipe too is a good fight right now.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, I'd love to see that. You know, Ngannou deserves a title shot.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they might do that next. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I'd watch it for sure. I don't know where that goes next, though.
I don't either.
I definitely would say Stipe the best, though.
How do you think Paulo Costa would stack up against Israel or Robert Whittaker? I
don't know. That's tough, man. I mean, Costa's tough. He looked good against Yoel, man. He really did. I think we have to see Izzy Whittaker first.
Yeah.
I think we have to see that fight before we know.
Just trying to compare him to either guy. I mean, it's like...
you know, if Whittaker looks like old Whittaker, I don't know who beats him.
Yeah, we haven't seen Whittaker in so long.
That's what I'm saying. It's been a while since we saw Whittaker.
Yeah.
That's why I say we need to see him in the Izzy fight because, I mean... You know, depending on what happens in that fight, Izzy's looking unstoppable right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's looking like he can beat anybody. And if he goes in there and beats Whittaker, then it's like, that's still a hard decision to make because Costa's undefeated and Costa looked good against Yoel. So it's like those 3 or 4 guys, it's a bloodbath up there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just all 3, 4 of those guys are savages. Especially Costa, Izzy.
I wouldn't be mad to see, you know, whenever they go to, you know, Australia or whatever the fight's going to be. I think they should have Costa on standby in case somebody gets hurt.
I agree.
As a fill-in guy, you know.
That would be perfect, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. I would also I wouldn't be mad at Costa versus Gastelum.
Yeah,
That'd be a
Costa
fun
Gastelum
fight.
would be. I forgot Gastelum.
That'd be a really
man.
fun fight.
You know, Gastelum put a hurting on Izzy.
Yeah.
I mean, he
That was
gave
a
Izzy
war, man.
That was a war. So Costa Gastelum right now is a good fight for Costa. Period. Because I mean, not that Costa needs to prove himself anymore, but I mean that's just another win under your belt that really cements that, okay, like, you deserve a title shot after this.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, which they're probably going to give him the title shot after Izzy Whittaker fight.
Yeah, I think so.
I would imagine. So, but either way, in the meantime, him and Gastelum would be a great fight, I think.
It would be. Yeah, I don't know if they want to give him another fight or just, because he would have to. He's going to be off for a little bit before he can fight again. So then it would be him taking a fight with Gastelum, who's already been off for a little bit since he fought Izzy. And then you got Izzy and Whittaker. So then after they fight, then you're off you got this whole another gap before they fight the winner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard
It's hard to
judge, really. But, I don't know, we just got to see Izzy Whittaker first.
Yeah.
Before we make any decisions on that. Like, I don't know. I think Costa's good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on where Whittaker's at, I don't know if anybody can beat Whittaker, bro. If Whittaker's feeling if he's as good as he was against Yoel, I mean, that's hard to judge now too, because Yoel took some time off, has been through some stuff, and he's older. So Costa beating Yoel, is it as impressive as we think it is? I don't know. I mean, it's not Yoel in his prime, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I mean, Izzy could probably beat Yoel right now. So
yeah, I think so.
It's one of those things, man. I don't know if Costa could beat Izzy or Whittaker until I see them fight.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with that. I would love to see all those fights though, all those matchups.
Jose Aldo accepted the challenge to fight Henry Cejudo.
I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Henry said he's going to bend the knee. Are they talking about 145?
No, 135.
135.
I think. I guess Henry called out Jose Aldo. I missed that.
They'll let him fight three. Will they let you fight three different divisions while you're holding up two of them? I don't know.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't.
Let him
they wouldn't let him go up to 145. I mean, it would be, Jose coming down to 135 to fight Henry.
I'm down for it. I mean, Jose's older. I mean, I don't want to see him get embarrassed by Henry because I don't really like Henry. But I think it's a badass fight.
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome.
It'd be fun to watch. I don't know.
Jose's always fun to watch.
I think there's better fights at 135 though. I'd rather see Frankie Edgar and Henry.
Personally, yeah.
I mean,
Frankie Edgar's going down too.
Yeah,
so.
He's going down to 135. I'd rather see that.
Frankie Sterling?
Possibly.
It's a good fight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that would be good.
Yeah, that'd be a fun fight.
There's a lot of good fights at 35.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot. It's a stacked division now.
Yeah, we should get rid of 25.
They announced UFC 245. Amanda Nunes is going to defend her title against Jermaine Durandamy.
Excited.
Her 145 title.
I don't know why. I guess let's just stick around and beat the shit out of everybody. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Nunes' mindset right now.
I don't know when she's wanting to retire. She was talking about retiring soon, but that's been a little while.
She just wants to whoop more ass.
I guess.
I love watching her fight. I don't want to see her get caught and lose, but anything could happen.
Yeah, I mean, Jermaine Durandamy's a real threat to her.
100%.
She definitely could do. She could hurt her.
That's one of those girls that
I don't really see it happening, honestly, but I mean, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, Nunes comes.
Realistically,
if Nunes comes with the game she's been coming with, she'll be fine against just about anybody. I've really been wanting to see her and Shevchenko, but we'll see.
Yeah,
what they do with that.
That's a tricky one because it's the different divisions. Does Amanda try to go down to 125 and get another title, or does Shevchenko come up to 135? I would assume Shevchenko would come up to 135 and fight her again there.
It would have to be.
So she can try to become double champ if she was to beat her.
Yeah, that would be perfect for her.
But
I'd like to see that, but we'll see what happens after this fight and if Nunes decides to stick around.
Yeah. So
Conor McGregor.
Yeah, Conor did an interview with Ariel Helwani yesterday on Thursday, and it was a pretty good interview, man. I mean, he said all the right things. He said everything. As a Conor fan, he says everything that you would want him to say. You know what I mean? He took accountability for everything that he's done wrong. He was very apologetic to his fans, to his coach. he said he wants to make everything right. He still wants to fight. He's a fighter. He's never going to retire for real.
He said he didn't want to go down that road. He doesn't want to be that guy that was, such a legacy and such a big name, and then just throws it all away for stupid shit.
Well,
hitting
Ariel,
people and hitting innocent people and whatever it may be, and we all know deep down that's not Conor. That's not what Conor came from. That's not what he worked so hard for. It's really not. And then, like I was telling you, I think the last couple of years, this money has just gotten to his head, and the business has just gotten to his head, and he's not the core. He hasn't been the core fighter. And, I'm all about giving people second chances. If he can stay out of trouble and be a fighter again, and, or, just be the guy that we all want to see Conor be, that we all look up to, then I will always respect Conor as a fighter. So,
Ariel does a really good interview, and he asks really good questions and everything. And he said that, he told Conor, he's like, I know you study the game, you know the fight game in and out, and you've seen these high-level boxers and fighters that have all this money and then throw it away and go down the bad path. You don't want to be that.
You definitely want to see that with Conor.
Connor's like,
he's such a draw and such a great, from what, besides the little antics and little stuff he's been through, since getting this money that he's got, just about everything that all the trouble he's got into is since he made all this money. And a lot of times I think that goes to people's heads.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that if you're not, like, none of us have ever been in the shoes of somebody with that much money, or a lot of times people make terrible decisions. They do stupid shit, and the money really does go to their head. And if he can bounce back and be a respectable guy again, I'm willing to give him a second chance. We don't know exactly what happened. We know that it's definitely not acceptable that he put his hands on an old man, but at the same time, we don't know exactly what happened either.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to 100% judge and call him a piece of shit for doing that. I mean, I'm just not, because there's people who have done far worse, like Jones, and we've forgiven them.
Yeah.
So, I'm 100% going to give Conor another chance. If he can come back, and I'm all about giving people second chances. So hopefully Conor comes back, and I'd like to see him fight again, man.
Yeah, as a Conor fan, like I like how he did the interview. I like what he said. He was respectful. He's talking about other fighters, but he was respectful in everything he said. He was saying how he likes to see how these guys are doing. He congratulated Nate Diaz on his win.
Yeah, that's the Conor we like to see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the kind of stuff I like to see from him. He admitted his faults. He took accountability for everything. He said he wants to make everything right. He apologized a lot, and it's just, I think he's in a lot better place now. Mentally.
Yeah, that was back in April.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair.
And he said that he would like to fight by the end of the year, and he was supposed to be fighting. He said they were trying to line up a fight for July. But he took a sparring bout with a friend or something and broke his hand, had to have surgery, and he's been cleared to go back to training grappling. He said he can already throw a punch, but he's got to figure out what he can do.
We might get lucky enough to get a Conor fight by December.
Yeah.
If not, I think I'd like to see him back, period, just within the next 6 months or so.
Yeah. But what I also liked, he didn't get on there and say, I want Khabib right away, or I think I should go right to Khabib. He's like, if I need to take a warm-up fight, I'll take a warm-up fight. I'll take a fight against somebody else. Whatever they want to give me, I just want to fight.
I'll take a Cowboy fight, a Gaethje fight. I mean, there's a lot of fight out there for him.
Yeah, there's a ton
to get him going. To get him back in the game, and we all know how good Conor is, how good that left hand is, and how the skills he has as a boxer and as a just every period as a fighter. So. Yeah.
I just want to see him get back to the old,
the old Conor, the one we all liked, Also, Cody Garbrandt is going to be out till 2020. He, I had it right here. I was going to read something.
So he had to have surgery, right?
Yeah, he did have to have surgery, but I had the full story. He sustained the injury in a training session last week. They confirmed in a text message to MMA Junkie that surgery has been scheduled. It's unclear which tendon specifically that Garbrandt tore.
Huh.
He was cleared for a return from a hand and wrist injury, and then this happened. So, we won't be seeing any Garbrandt until 2020. And
it sucks, man.
He really did need a fight, man. So hopefully he bounces back. He's been through a rough go the last couple of years, and
I like Garbrandt.
Garbrandt's a great guy, and I hope to see him back. Also,
Bigfoot.
one more news. We got Antonio Bigfoot Silva is going to bare knuckle. He signed a deal with bare knuckle. He'll be fighting pretty soon. Probably going to be roided up, if I had to guess. Going to go in there and probably beat the fuck out of everybody, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's gonna
anybody
be cool.
who knows Bigfoot Silva knows he's savage, and if they're going to let him do roids, he will 100% do roids.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be really intense. I'm kind of excited to see where bare knuckle goes. They keep signing guys like this, and it'll be kind of dope.
For sure. So we don't have any UFC this weekend. There's a card
No cards to talk
next
about.
weekend, but Bellator 225, Mitrione versus Kiritanov 2.
It'll be a good fight. I love Matt Mitrione.
Yeah, for sure.
Badass.
The first fight was, I think it was, earlier this year, like right after that heavyweight tournament.
That shot.
Yeah, Matt kicked him in the balls like
Yeah, I remember
40
that.
seconds in, and the fight was over. It was an accident. He was he was going for an inside
What do you
leg
think
kick.
this is, man? This is not 1995,
Yeah.
bro.
He was going for an inside leg kick, but he kicked him directly in the balls, full force, and
It happens, bro. It happens.
Sergey had to be carried out.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was
I
bad.
remember that.
It was really bad. But so they're running it back.
Good. I like Matt in this fight.
Yeah,
I think Matt will get it done.
I think he gets the TKO win.
Yeah, Matt's just a super tough guy, and he's been looking really good in his last few fights. So
Yeah.
I don't see him really having any trouble with this fight. I'll definitely tune in for that though.
Yeah, that's the main
Nothing
event.
going on this weekend. So.
There's not really any other big names on the card that I knew. So I mean, tune into it, check it out, look at it.
Guess we can get into Mount Rushmore, huh?
Yeah.
So our Mount Rushmore this week, guys, we're gonna do our top 4 favorite KOs. Not necessarily like all time. It's just 4 KOs that we, both think are. I don't really know how to explain it. I mean, these are not necessarily like my top 4 ever. I mean, it's a couple of them are for sure.
It's just
But, I mean,
it's just
some
top
of them
4
are-
that come to mind immediately
just
when you
period.
think
about
of
knockouts.
best
Some
best
of them
knockouts.
are recently. Some of them are ones that we've picked from older fights that we liked. But either way, what's your number 1?
Showtime kick.
Showtime Pettis.
Anthony Pettis with
one of the most insane knockouts in MMA, UFC, anything, any fight history.
If you don't remember, it's the Showtime kick where he jumps off the side of the cage and kicks Benson Henderson in the face.
Super intense.
Yeah. The kick heard around the world.
I didn't put that on mine just because I knew you did.
Yeah.
But man, such a sick knockout. Like I think that might be my favorite one ever. My knockout, my number 1 is Pettis' recent Superman knockout versus Wonderboy, which is just something that does not happen to Wonderboy.
Yeah.
And it was a badass knockout. And anybody who hasn't seen that, go check it out. Anthony Pettis is just, he's got some insane knockouts. He actually, we've been talking about him. He had a fight and lost against Diaz, but he's just had some sick knockouts, and he's just had an overall great career, and I love watching him fight.
Yeah, me too.
His knockouts are awesome. What's your number 2?
Francis Ngannou Overeem uppercut.
I mean, he sent Alistair to a different planet.
Yeah. That was such an insane knockout, man.
Because
the power he generated in that uppercut.
Well, not only is it insane, it's insane because it was done to Alistair Overeem.
Yeah.
Like, he usually knocks people out like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't usually see that. You wouldn't expect that to happen, but Francis is just a savage.
Yeah.
And that knockout power is
a veteran, and we got a guy who's somewhat new to the UFC at this time. You know, coming in, just starching everybody.
And since Alistair,
and this is going to be his first like really big test, and he just sends him into orbit.
What we were hoping for. That was an amazing knockout.
Yeah.
My number 2 is when Conor slept Jose Aldo. 13 seconds.
Oh yeah, that was a great one.
Amazing knockout.
That's great in so many ways because
many ways.
You see the
At
footage
the time,
of
it
him.
was the fastest knockout. Before
you see the footage of him. Practicing what he's going to do exactly. The sidestep.
And how he got into Aldo's head in that, and in the conferences and leading up to that fight. It was just, it was everything you wanted to happen in that fight. He called it literally. He was like, I'm going to knock him out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna knock him out in the first 20 seconds, probably. Like, you're right, Connor, you did.
Yeah.
You know, and he planned it perfectly, and it was an amazing knockout. And it's one thing that I'll always remember just from, you know, being a Conor McGregor fan and just his old fights. If you look back at him, that's just something he'll always be known for. What about you?
Rampage Jackson and Ricardo Arona, the slam. You know, when he picked him up,
knocked him out
slammed him, and then knocked him out.
Dude, that's a legendary knockout.
Yeah. That's one of those highlight knockouts. That was in Pride.
And it's one you don't see every day. It's not something you're going to see.
Yeah.
You know, you might not ever see that ever again.
That's one of those highlight knockouts that when you see any, you know, top 10 knockout list, it's usually on there, you know. It was such a crazy, you know, he just picked him up. The strength, you know, just to pick up a guy. When you're fighting light heavyweight and you can pick up a guy over your head from the ground and slam him and knock him out, it's insane.
Yeah, that's wild. It was a sick knockout.
Yeah.
I miss Rampage fighting.
Me too.
Really do. It would be sick to see him back in the cage.
Yeah.
My number 3 is when Machida front leg kicked Couture in the chin. An immediate knockout. And what's crazy about that knockout was like how Machida, like, he was like, you know, he kept pump faking that leg.
Yeah.
He kept pump faking it, and then, well, lo and behold, it was not a pump fake. It was a kick right to Randy Couture's chin.
Kick to the mouth.
Yeah, immediately knocked him out. It was an amazing knockout.
Yeah. That's a good one.
What's your last one?
Man, I've been up in the air about this on what to do, but I think I'm going to go with Yair Rodriguez and Korean Zombie.
Bro.
With 1 second left in the fight.
That was sick.
It was a perfectly timed elbow.
That elbow, I forgot about that knockout. That's a good pick, man. That really
Flatline Korean Zombie with like 1 second left. I mean,
that was an insane. Anybody who hasn't seen that, you know, that's not one that's like, you know, that made, you know, I mean, it was news and stuff, but like, it, you know, not the biggest names in the sport, but it's got to be like top 5 most amazing knockouts ever.
It's just the timing of the elbow.
Like, I mean, nobody expected it.
For him
the way he threw it was insane.
For him to wait on Korean Zombie to come forward and to duck down and throw the elbow up at the right angle at the right time.
That was amazing.
And catch him on the chin. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
And it's something that, you know, it's an elbow he practices a lot. You know, he's just waiting for the right time to throw it.
Exactly. That was an amazing knockout. Anybody who hasn't seen that, you need to go look it up right now.
Honorable mention, I'll give Deontay Wilder knocking out Brazil. Because that was nasty.
Sent that man to another planet, literally. Can we get a Deontay Wilder, Prince Ngannou fight?
Oh, shit.
Dream matchups. But my last one is going to be the fastest knockout in UFC history.
Jorge Masvidal, Ben Askren.
The knee to the chin, bro.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I can't think of a better knockout ever. I really can't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the most intense, quickest knockout you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Literally, you know, broke the record. Quickest knockout.
Yeah.
And it was just
amazing. The more impressive thing to me about these knockouts,
the way he practiced it to me, and you see the footage of him practicing it the night before.
That's what makes these knockouts so impressive, is to know that these guys plan these things out and to make reads, you know, in real time. Like Masvidal knew he wanted to throw that knee, but he didn't know when. He had said that. He's like, I planned on throwing the knee, but I didn't know it was going to be right off the gate. He's like, I just saw what Ben was doing, and I was able to read it, and I knew exactly what he was going to go for. So why not throw it immediately?
He knew he was going to come for that takedown. You know? Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Just an amazing knockout, man.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that, honestly.
Just to make reads.
You know, I watched it right as it was happening, and actually my stream was messing up, and then as soon as the stream quit messing up, all I see is Masvidal against the fence. And I was like, please don't freeze on me again, stream. And then it didn't matter because it was 5 seconds, though, literally. And so I had no worries about the stream freezing because didn't have enough time. Got to see a crazy-ass knockout, and I was just sick. I'll always remember that one.
Yeah.
I guess that about wraps it up, huh?
Yeah, man, I think that's about it.
It's a good episode, man.
Yeah.
If y'all like listening to us, or anybody out there want to give us some feedback, it's Untrained Experts on Instagram, Facebook. Go like us, review us on iTunes, anywhere you get your podcast, we're there. We'd love feedback from anybody.
For sure.
It'd be awesome to hear back from y'all.
YouTube.
Yeah, we're on YouTube as well. The audio's getting uploaded, and we're looking into maybe putting a little bit more on YouTube. Maybe we'll start doing a little bit more on there, hopefully, in the future. But Till then, we'll see y'all next week. This is Untrained Experts episode 21. Peace.
Peace.